guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. Today we're gonna go ahead and do the final red zone no item sweep with the Kid Goku team. And we are gonna do the GT red zone. Again, I really enjoy doing these sort of challenges, right? Sweeping these red zone teams with the various themes. I feel like it does give me a good idea of the capabilities of these characters. The opening fight here against Ledgic. Ledgic is a complete joke. I mean, dude, like, this is just a free pass. I don't see how you could lose to this fight. If you're using 200% characters, you're just not going to. Alright, now we're moving on to the second fight in the GT Red Zone. This is Lord Luud. Again, this is another just sort of very, very basic, almost free pass sort of fight. This is not a fight that is going to put up any sort of struggle against us or fight or anything like that. We're just going to tear it in half. Kid Goku himself is dominant. He is definitely a top 10 unit in the game. His level of power is, like, around the level of, like, I don't know, DOKKANFEST exclusive LRs. I mean, I would definitely put this Kid Goku above, say, like, LR Goku and Vegeta or something like that. But, like, Kid Goku himself is he generates all of the power of the team, right? He is able to protect the other characters, support the other characters, do massive amounts of damage. Kid Goku does literally everything. So the whole purpose, really, is we just want to protect sort of the other characters as much as possible, right? Hopefully, you know, we're running like Kid Gohan or Kid Bulma in one of these fights. We just don't want them to get slapped up, right? But many of these fights go like this, right? Kid Goku comes out, he'll do like a triple 10 million attack set, and these bosses go down in seconds, right? Like, Kid Goku is ridiculous, right? He's so very powerful. And, you know, we are going to see Carnival Goku again. Since his release, I don't know if there's actually been a character like I've ever used more than Carnival Goku. He's just on every single team. Every single team, like Carnival Goku, just feel like these days I'm just rocking him. And he is, of course, able to really hold well in a lot of these fights. But here's the fight against Lord Luud. Again, Luud doesn't really, he's not one of these million damage bosses that we have to be scared about. He does have type advantage against Kid Goku, but Kid Goku would not die to a super attack from Luud anyway, so we're fine. Alright guys, next we're going to the fight against Rilldo. Rilldo can be challenging. He can be tricky for sure. The thing about Rilldo that you really want to be careful about, right, is the fact that Rilldo can defensively debuff you with every single super attack that he does. Every super attack Rilldo does can debuff you. He could lower your defense, which is definitely something you do want to keep in mind about, right? You do want to be very cautious about having your characters defensively debuffed, right? In the old days of Dokkan, characters getting hit by defensive debuffs was always like a big, cause of like some of these events being tough and stuff like that. After the first two phases, we move on to the Tech Rilldo, right? The final phase. Tech Rilldo can be pretty annoying to fight, pretty devastating, because he can lock, right? Locking bosses, of course, can be the great equalizer. They just lock one of your weak characters into slot 1, and then you are donezo, right? The thing is that there are several characters we've been able to bring who can be very, very effective against this level of Rilldo, right? We have Easy A Int Kid Goku, who can be very strong. Kid Goku, of course, like running 3 Kid Gokus on the team can be a bit of a nuisance sometimes, especially since the DOKKANFEST physical Kid Goku, we really want to run him in slot 2, right? So that would leave us on rotations where, we might not have links active for some of these Kid Gokus, but that Int Kid Goku, he really is going to be very powerful considering how much stronger he gets as the fight goes on. I also bust out Xenopan here, because remember, Xenopan is a character that just gets very strong if she continues to dodge in any given turn, right? Xenopan can be a pretty impressive character overall, I would say. So, we're able to use her, I think, very effectively. And I could have used her in, honestly, a bunch of these fights, right? Because it's like, her role in a fight like this, it's very simple. Just dodge everything, right? Like, that's what she's here to do. She does support, but remember, it's only for the Dragon Ball Heroes category. And of course, we're not using any other Dragon Ball Hero units besides Xenopan. But that is basically it with this Rilldo fight, right? Just want to be careful about the characters that might potentially get locked into slot 1 against Tech Rilldo, and we really should be fine. We have, Int Namek Goku, Carnival Goku stacking, Android 8 doesn't take damage, Int Kid Goku, right? Again, remember, he gets stronger every turn, so by the time we reach Tech Rilldo, with the physical Kid Goku giving damage reduction and crit and all this to the whole rotation, really not too much to worry about. All right, next we're going up against Baby. Now, Baby is still, I would say, a difficult fight. Like, Baby is by no means some complete joke of a pushover, right? But if you're using 200% characters, right, you should be able to handle yourselves pretty well. Now, the thing about Baby that makes this fight... Okay, so one thing to be a bit, I guess, nervous about, potentially, is Android 8. Android 8... Remember, he does build into his strength of being really, really good. He has to get hit first, and it's got to be 5 turns, and he has to have a Kid Goku on rotation. So, Android 8 potentially could take a lot of damage, but we gave him full dodge for situations exactly like that right there. That would have done several 100,000 damage to Android 8, right? I'm pretty sure. But Android 8 dodges that, so that just completely saves us. The thing with this fight, though, Kid Goku he hits way too hard for Baby, right? Like, Baby is not built for this Kid Goku, especially because the opening phase is Tech, the second phase is AGL, and then we have double int phases after that. I mean, it's just going to be a wrap. Kid Goku is going to just finish this fight super fast. It's really like, if AGL Kid Gohan just doesn't get caught somehow, or the STR Namek Goku doesn't get caught, we're going to be good to go, right? The thing about me bringing AGL Kid Gohan and EZA Namek Goku, of course, remember that they both have All in the Family, so we have many characters on the team to have that All in the Family defensive link up for basically all of these units except for Carnival Goku and Android 8, right, which is very helpful. Namek Goku, the EZA one, does lose All in the Family when he transforms, but at that point, you know, he then potentially is stacking and guarding and doing all of this good stuff as well. Although, we do get that super attack, taking that damage right there is a good thing, because that does allow us to transform with Goku. Again, I found that this EZA Namek Goku, he could be very effective in these very difficult fights. Right, when you're giving characters stacking and guard and abilities like this, you could just find so many spots to potentially use them, right? Remember that most characters these days are doing decent damage, but these characters who could actually hang in there against these big bosses' tough attacks, that's what I think is really special, right? So, there we go. When we get to Int Baby, you guys are going to see Kid Goku will evaporate that guy's health, especially on these turns with Android 8. I mean, you just see Kid Goku dropping these, you know, triple 10 million attack stats and stuff like that. It just gets ridiculous, right? The amount of damage that Kid Goku can, on any given turn, put up while being a juggernaut defensively and supporting the rotation, it just gets very insane. Kid Goku overall, I'd say, is just such an impressive character. We do want to be careful of Baby's AoE normals at the end. That, of course, can be something that would be certainly pretty scary, but I'm not really too sure that we have to worry too much, right? Most of the characters should be okay. You know, as long as EGL Kid Gohan at least gets a couple of super attacks in. But most of our characters should be okay to potentially be able to take the normals from Grade 8 Baby, you know, once he's potentially doing those AoE normal attacks. So there we go. There's the Baby fight. Physical Kid Goku will be able to take just billions of HP off of this guy fast, and we should be good to go here. Alright guys, now we're moving on to the Super 17 fight. This is a fight that I was potentially pretty worried about. I looked over Kid Goku's team. I wasn't the biggest fan of a lot of the options we potentially could bring into here. I mean, you guys see me using AGL LR Kid Gohan here. Remember, Kid Goku is very powerful, and his team is really rather top-heavy. I just didn't feel comfortable running a lot of these different options. I knew that AGL LR Gohan, if I could just potentially baby him a little bit, he could probably get to the point where he's not taking too much damage from Super 17's normal attacks. Or even, you know, he could take some damage, but it's just not going to be an absolute killer. Of course, we get this, dude, you gotta love when that happens, right? Like, alright, there's one lone attack in the middle right there. LR Gohan did actually live, though, so we should be good to go. Did we get the 7 rainbow orbs with Kid Goku? Or did we get the 7 orbs with Kid Goku? I think we did, right? I feel like I was surprised that LR Gohan actually lived that super attack. Because it's like, these guys can hit pretty hard here. I did bring the Kid Gohan SSR, as you guys can see. But remember, the thing in this fight is Super 17 absorbs Ki Blast super attacks, so we can't even use them. That does take away one of the greatest assets that the team has, by the way, which is Kid Goku's active skill, which just does massive damage, gives him the 59% chance to crit and stuff like that. And we won't be able to sort of bust that out against Super 17. So that is something that we have to keep in mind. But really, a lot of these characters can build up, right? Like, the Kid Gohan SSR is really not that good, but he is still supporting, right? We can kind of mix and match and get things the way we want to on some of these rotations, right? Just sort of, I don't know, play things carefully and then hope that Kid Goku does not get caught, I guess, by Super 17. Because that's the thing, Kid Goku could live a super attack from Super 17 if we had full health. And Kid Goku had like 10 orbs, and he had like a bunch of rainbow orbs and stuff like that. I do think Kid Goku probably could live Super 17 super attack. But it's like, it has to be like a real perfect rotation. Because I believe I've had my Kid Goku take 500k damage from the Metal Cooler Core before, which is just like insane, I think. So it's like I think Kid Goku, even if we would get caught, we could potentially live, but it would need to be a very juiced up rotation in order for Kid Goku to take the punishment that Super 17 is capable of dishing out, right? But really, it's just a matter of, you know, don't get caught with the super attack on physical Kid Goku. And, you know, hopefully our Kid Gohans are able to get some stacks in and stuff like that. And then we should be able to handle Super 17 once we do get to that STR phase, right? Super 17 can still be a very tricky fight. But, you know, there, of course, are much tougher fights out now than what we have from Super 17 right here. Plus, you know, remember, we do have, like, AGL Kid Gohan's active skill in our back pocket. Okay, now, I saw this, by the way. It's like, I probably should have just used it so we could get the animation here and then reset the turn. But you can't, we can't transform. If we're, like, we're you know, this is a serious challenge, okay? We need to, by the way, yeah, there you go. Oh, I forgot, yeah. We win because of that, in case, we definitely don't live that. I don't think so. The only reason we won this is because of Kid Goku having full dodge. Again, I do think going full dodge in a lot of characters these days actually really makes a ton of sense. Because the way Dokkan is balancing a lot of these really strong premium characters is they're just giving them crits and additionals and shit like that built in. So now on a lot of characters, I just feel very comfortable going full dodge. And it's, you know, my Kid Goku, you're still seeing him crit like crazy. He still triple supers often. But now, you know, my Kid Goku compared to many others who will, you know, raise their noses at dodge and say it's stupid, my Kid Goku's able to survive a super attack right there. Remember, Kid Goku gets defense on super attack. So, like his actual, like, I think it's, what is it, 59% or 58% on super attack? So it's like, without that, we would not have lived from Super 17 right there. So that's very good. And then AGL LR Gohan, we couldn't transform with him because his 18-key super attack and his 18-key would be basically free every single turn. It's a Ki Blast super, right? I want him to continue to stack and then also not heal Super 17, which is why I didn't transform with him. But there we go. There's Super 17 fight. Dodge for the win, like always. right, now we are going on to the fight against the Shadow Dragons. This fight really was very simple. This is the first fight, I guess this is the only fight in this side of the red zone that we busted out LR Demon King Piccolo. LR Demon King Piccolo, I would actually argue, is probably fairly dominant on this Kid Goku team. Just off of the strength of Kid Goku being introduced into the game, I would say I feel like Demon King Piccolo is actually probably better than most of the free-to-play characters in the game. Because what Demon King Piccolo is able to do is things that summonable premium characters are not able to. And Demon King Piccolo is, you know, almost a 3-year-old free-to-play unit. He really can look quite good on these teams, right? With some of his links up, a lot of times he's getting supported from Kid Goku. Kid Goku giving the extra damage reduction support onto Demon King Piccolo's already existing support is very good. And then remember, the thing too, I missed, obviously, the super attack with Kid Goku intentionally to try and stack up and stuff like that a little bit more. But the thing with Demon King Piccolo is, when he's old, he needs 5 orbs to get his damage reduction. He does create orbs, but it can be inconsistent at times. You guys know this with characters that create one, you know, just type orb. Like, a character that creates int orbs, a character that creates tech orbs, something like that. It can be inconsistent at times. But when Demon King Piccolo is creating his tech orbs and Kid Goku's creating the rainbow orbs, I have, like, literally never had a situation where I pretty much haven't been able to get the orbs for both. Because they're both orb changing, it just seems pretty free. Demon King Piccolo will transform on turn, whatchamacallit? Turn 7. Demon King Piccolo transforms. And then from there, we no longer need orbs for his damage reduction. And it jumps up to 66% damage reduction, which can be very effective. Also in conjunction with Kid Goku's support and then his damage reduction support and stuff like that. So Demon King Piccolo, if it's a very long fight, Demon King Piccolo can hang in there and perform well. A lot of the characters we're using on this run are stacking characters, right? The final phase, remember, Ice Shenron can lock, which can be problematic. You know, we did bring LR Namek Goku, but the thing about Namek Goku is this fight does tend to go on so long that we probably could stack up to where even if Namek Goku potentially gets super attacked by Ice, we might be able to live, right? Because, I mean, Namek Goku, I mean, he could tank Cell Max super attacks. I mean, I know that's Goku has type advantage there, but still, it's like, Ice Shenron should not really be putting the fear into us. We should, I guess, be cautious of Nova Shenron, who's the hardest hitting Shadow Dragon in this fight. And he does have type advantage over our Kid Goku, our physical Kid Goku, but I just don't really think we have too much to worry about. Again, these fights can be tricky, but, you know, we just bring the right mix of characters, and Kid Goku himself is just so dominant that it's hard to lose. Like, you really have to just get caught and lose all of your health in pretty much a single shot. Like, Kid Goku's just way too strong. Like, he does everything, right? He's giving the rotation regular support, he's creating rainbow orbs, he's giving them damage reduction support. Like, that is actually one of the strongest abilities in the game currently, man. That damage reduction support, it should be fairly obvious when you're watching these runs with Kid Goku, like, just how much tankier these rotations feel like with Kid Goku there. He just does so much for the team. It's mind-boggling how good Kid Goku is, right? Shadow Dragon fight, really not too tough. And again, Kid Goku is able to just, like, blast through these Shadow Dragons like nothing. guys, we move on to the final fight against Omega Shenron. Omega is certainly still a tough fight, but we just have, like, exactly the character to destroy Omega, which is this physical Kid Goku. In this opening rotation, remember that Omega can seal and stun us, which certainly can be problematic, but if he's not going to seal or stun Kid Goku, Omega is going to get turned inside out very, very fast. This Kid Bulma can be pretty strong. She gets buffs, actually, if she gets hit and she dodges. So this is actually like a perfect fight for her, right? Because she's able to, you know, get a couple of dodges in early. She's able to get a couple hits in early. So she'll build up her stats. She could be very effective. She also does heal when she gets Rainbow Orbs, and she heals on Super Attack as well. And then we have the Great Ape Kid Goku. He can be okay because he does stack defense as well. He could be okay. You know, we just have to keep Kid Bulma and the Great Ape Kid Goku safe once we get to STR Sin. But if STR Sin is not going to catch one of these physical characters, we basically are not really going to lose, because I would be very confident putting physical DOKKANFEST Kid Goku in front of Omega Super Attack. Android 8 could go in front of Omega Super Attack and survive. We just have numerous characters who we would not really struggle against these big-time bosses, right? It's just, I don't know. Omega can be tough, but him having like a guaranteed spot where his Super Attack is really does take a lot of the challenge away from him. And he no longer is like the hardest hitting boss, you know, in the game by far in terms of normal stuff like that, to where it's like, you know, like when this guy first came out, you gotta look at the teams like that were running around at the time, right? We didn't really have a ton of characters who were great at tanking against this guy. Now we do. Now we do have a lot of characters who are able to do it. Kid Bulma getting the dodges in right there. That's exactly where we need dodges from her. And she's able to look pretty good. So there we go. There is the Kid Goku GT Red Zone sweep. It was very, very painless. I think I lost. This, I believe, is the no item run right here. This was my initial showcase on Kid Goku in the Omega fight. I believe we had one loss during this whole thing. I think once against Rilldo. I think Rilldo caught my Int Kid Goku early on, like in the second phase or something like that. I think. But besides that, like, you know, these recent Dokkan Fest, Gamma 1, Gamma 2, Kid Goku, they're just so ridiculous. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.